All right, good morning and welcome back for a weekly outlook on gold. So last week we had FOMC. I was also a little bit busy last week. Didn't stream every day last week, but we'll be back in full swing from today. So here I'm zoomed out on gold on a 4-hour time frame, and what we can see is that we have begun to form a range between 1950 and about 1900. So the key levels I'm looking at here at the top of the range and the bottom of the range is 1950 flat or 1947.5. That's sort of our key levels to look out for that side. And then to the downside, we've got 1905, but a very nice rejection level here, 1903 as well. So as it stands, we are sitting in the middle of this range. Just a higher time frame breakdown here. Of course, if we do get breaks above 1950, we can start to look for price to trend back up into the 1980s possibly. To the downside, if we can get breaks below 1903 and actually hold below 1900, we should be looking for a nice little move down here to 1890, about 100 pips. Once we can clear this 1890s area, if we look further to the left, you'll notice we have plenty of clean traffic. Now, I just see this candle here, and this is also a weekly candle with no bottom wick. So immediately that's just going to be the first target once we can break and hold below 1890. That's about a 230 pip range. Like I say, this is more of a higher time frame outlook here, so not going to look too deeply into those targets. But if we can get the breaks below 1890, like I say, then we can start to look trending. Start to look for price to trend down to about 1870. But for the time being, now that we are in this range, if you're day trading and scalping, there's plenty of room for us to be taking trades within this range. So as it stands, where is it most likely for price to move up to next? Back to 1950 or to 1900? So what we can do is we can just look at some of the more recent price action here. And we can see that we came into 1903 on the 13th of September, and we started to trend back up here on intradays. And you can see here from FOMC, we had a very nice rejection of 1950. Now, why did we get that rejection? With FOMC, they kept rates the same, but we could consider this or call this a hawkish pause. So they paused the interest rates. They didn't raise, they didn't cut, but they came out very hawkish in their statement and have signaled rates higher for longer, which is very hawkish. So that is bringing strength to the dollar, of course, keeping the dollar strong. Now we've had a very gradual trend to the upside here, but you can see if you do zoom out that the dollar has a lot of momentum right now. We are moving into a very key area around 105,500, where we could still see some rejections, not to necessarily change trend, but just to get a deeper pullback to continue to move bullish here. So with that stronger dollar, and with gold breaking some of this structure here, so like I say, we were moving bullish on the intraday time frames, forming higher highs, higher lows, and then we essentially just formed a bit of a range here. This FOMC was like a bit of a fake out, just grabbing some liquidity from 1950. And now you can see the structure right here has been broken, retested once, retested twice, and now we can start to look for potential sells in our session, moving back down to 1815. So firstly, looking to target these lows here at 1815. So, if we could potentially get something like this, maybe now in London session, to look to come down to 1820, looking to hold positions down to 1816, 1815. Once we can break and hold below 1816.5 or 1815, then we can start to look for those moves all the way back down to 1905. So looking for potentially a break and retest of this sort of zone here for moves down to 1910, and then looking to push all the way down into the lows at 1905. Those are just some trade ideas for now, while we are in this range. Like I say, 1905 is a very solid level, and why I've just marked it up as more of a zone and actually given two levels here, 1905 and 1903, is we can see rejections anywhere within these levels. We could also even see fake outs down to 1900 and reject here and stay trading in this overall range for some time. So do be careful once we tap into the 1900s there, 1900s, 1905s. This is quite a big range, so the 1900s here is a very solid level. If you're not getting breaks below immediately, you can see here how we have ranged and had quite strong bounces off of this level before. So if you do come into this level once again, see rejections, we could easily start to then look for some buys just off of a technical basis within session there. Seeing rejections off of these levels. What I didn't do here was zoom out to the weekly candle, so let's just have a quick look at that. Now your weekly candles are a little bit messy. That candle last week did get the push to the upside into the 1950s, but we have closed bullish as well, but we've seen a very strong we've seen price leave behind a strong wick to the upside here, looking like potentially more of a rejection. So the weekly candle is very tricky to decipher whether this will be a rejection or a wick fill. But like I say, that's when we start to scale into the intraday time frames and see what's happening there. And you can see, based off what I've given already, what I'm looking at there. So this price action on the daily also just very standard stuff. We had the tap into 1950, rejected, saw a nice continuation and carry over on Thursday. And Friday, you saw a little bit of a pullback, leaving a bullish daily candle. So I wouldn't necessarily consider that to be a support for us to move back up here. You'll see this price action to the left as we were trending down nicely here, just consecutive bearish daily candles. These bullish candles here all happen to be a Friday, where we see some profit taking and just some pullbacks in price. So I'm not too surprised to see a bullish candle there on Friday. but it was not necessarily strong enough to form a support. I would think if we could break below 1920, we could easily fill that wick from Thursday's candle, and like I say, looking to move down here into 1910, 1905. Perfect, everybody. Thank you so much for checking in, and I will see you later this afternoon. Cheers. Let's have a good week.